Good evening. You're listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the sexy, sultry, almost summer-like temperatures here in Central Florida, just west of Orlando, Florida. I am in the Pinos Palace in the Extreme Studios with RDV with me tonight from the great Midwest. We are talking, of course, about Miami Nights, Season 1, Episode 6 and or 7, depending on how yours is noted. One-Eyed Jacks, an episode, RDV, noted for the ethereal sexiness and charm of Ricardo Tubbs doing his thing while Crockett's kind of pissing him on about some chick that I don't really care about. But
An
we also get
ex-girlfriend of
Dennis
his.
Farina, and we all the starting of it, and we also get the new chieftain and all that too. And also, let's not forget, last episode I believe was the first episode had the full 100% built into the up to this point theme song and all that too. So pretty standard episode with a fat a calorically enhanced individual that concerns himself with betting, which I have no problems with and all that too, and some interesting shots in this episode too. Pretty standard fare. I think it sets the tone for things that are going to come the regular of the season.
Yes.
What say you?
It's the start of a new story arc with a new villain subplot with Dennis Farina at the end making his little appearance, and he's going to return for the next couple episodes, or at least or spread around there. But as Albert, what's his name? Albert Raymond or something? Albert's Lombard. That's Lombard. That's what I know. I'm like
Carol Lombard.
I want to say Lombardi,
but Vince Lombardi. You know the last Vince Lombardi coached.
Was
the Washington Redskins, sir. I know he was one of your Packer boys, but I'm just telling you, they took him there and he died of cancer under Washington's tenure. The great Morania.
Well, he heard that they're going to be called the Commanders, and he said, "I'm done."
Stop it.
No, so not like talking about this episode is the divider between the first 5 episodes. They just took down Tubbs and Crockett just took down a major bad guy. Took them 5 episodes to do it. So now we got a new big bad villain too, Pacey, who's going to be kind of running behind the scenes here too. They're trying to get Luis of Lombard, played by Dennis Farina, who's no stranger to playing mobsters. He was in Thief for James Caan.
Do you know how he got a start though?
Well, he started off originally as a cop in Chicago
in real life, exactly,
for 20 years. And then it wasn't until the mid 80s where he just started on to being full acting. He was a detective there. And I was reading about him because I remember this. I think it was you or Eric or someone was talking about me, and a couple years ago, that Dennis Farina basically was who was working as in the beat for 20 years in Chicago as a detective, working and catching burglaries, or basically burglars, people who did the armed robbery.
Yep.
So he brought that in there. He also was on Law and Order and a few other shows, and so and everyone always says this man he brought the authenticity, he was authentic.
Absolutely.
You really don't get that a lot, unless today, especially Hollywood, because most of the writers have never done research or have never been a cop, so they don't know. And plus, there's always it's cheaper to pay someone who can write this, like the cliche, "Oh, cops are bad," whatever. But it's like I said, him being here playing the heavy, only in here for a brief few seconds towards the end there. It was just enough. It makes you pop, especially if you're a fan of Michael Mann and with his movie Thief, and Dennis Farina being there too. So you're like, oh shit, we got a guy in here. He's like, and especially if you're watching this for the first time, you're not going to know he's coming back. But when you see him again, you're like, oh my gosh, they're Lombard. They're bringing. So it's so great to have him being here in here. You talk about Dan Hedaya, or Hedaya. If you don't know who Dan Hedaya is, well, let's just say at the end, Matrix came for him.
John Matrix.
Yes, he was he was the Middle Eastern warlord that they freed from prison in Commando. So he goes to Alan, and he has Bennett, who's working for him, who has Matrix's daughter, and so it was just fantastic, seeing him pop in here too, and so those are the big names. But then we also have James Edward Olmos here, who takes over, and immediately when this guy walks into the thing, you're watching this, you're like, okay, this is there. We don't know anything about this guy. He seems kind of like a jerk a little bit. He's quiet, doesn't say much, very quiet. And I'm like, it's like, holy shit. And then, when so basically Crockett, his the story here, the girl he knew from high school, basically she's in the gambling debt and she asks for his help, so he tries to go in there and help, lean on the guys a little bit, but the guy says, hey, sorry, we because she gave him basically the toolbox, her husband's tools. He's a mechanic, he needs them to work, and stuff. So, and she gave him the tools and stuff to pay off the debt. And he goes in there to try and get the tools back, but he says, like, we don't have them. So he meets with Lombards, basically his Flacky, DeMarco.
His stooge, his Funky.
who is also known for being in Andy Warhol movies.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Look him up as IMDb stuff. He did some Andy Warhol picture stuff. And there's a Rolling Stones album where he has the big giant crotch, the blue jeans.
Mm-hmm.
That's him. It's his crotch.
Well, you got to make an honest living somehow, right?
Yeah.
Getting paid by your crotch isn't one.
The guy also says, I was reading about it too. He's like, he also fell in some hard times. His mom became his parents are divorced. His mom went into basically jail, incarceration. He got expelled from school because he punched the principal for making fun of a crack about his dad.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, and then eventually, he said he went into doing posing, nude photographer, like for Playgirl and like gay magazine stuff, just to get by. And then finally, he got a job in acting and stuff, with Andy Warhol, and it's led him to eventually here. That guy that plays DeMarco, he's actually, I read about him today, he's still alive. He's in the 70s, and he runs a hotel in over in I think Hollywood or Los Angeles, somewhere over there. So he's still like doing stuff, not acting. But
I thought for a brief moment, because we will see him later as a guest star, whether he's a flunky himself or the main guy.
I know.
We're gonna go see.
But he's got that face though. And he looks like Face from the A-Team a little bit, a little sleazy version of him.
Kurt Benedict, but no, to me he looks like he was in Lord of the Rings. He was
Aragon. You're talking about Vince. What's his name? I know he's not. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's the guy
Viggo Mortensen.
Viggo Mortensen, yeah.
He looked like Viggo from there. Like, wait a minute, I know Viggo's in an episode or two, but I'm like, this isn't Viggo. He's too small.
No, he looked like Viggo from the American, the Last American, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting off track. So this guy in there, he teams up, with he's like Lombard says, hey, gonna get this Crockett off our kids, we might be a cop and stuff, So we. First they bump off the girl, Crockett's friend, who is devastated. They found her basically floating in the river, or at least not river, but like by the pier and stuff, canal there. Mm-hmm. And he's so he's angry about this too. So in order to get Crockett off the case and make it look like he's dirty, DeMarco sets up a thing. Hey, that's when couldn't get you guys your toolbox back because we already got rid of them. But here's the cash, $11,000. And Sonny takes the thing. He's like, okay, whatever, for immunity, whatever, And then all of a sudden we get Dan Hedaya comes in. He's like, IAA, international or
internal affairs. Yep,
internal affairs. So, and he's trying to say, oh, Crockett's dirty, but turns out Hedaya was actually working for DeMarco and Lombard, and he's going after, and he basically when Crockett doesn't show up for a hearing, whatever. He busts into the thing. And this is where I love about, because we're in this episode, we're unsure about when it comes to if what was I gonna say? We're unsure as far as if they're what's Edward James Olmos, what's his name?
Castillo.
I think I always forget about that, his name. When you first come across, we don't really know if he's dirty or not. But this is the girl that he was helping. This was the other scene where they go against DeMarco.
I put this thing in here because, again, the aspect ratio might have been 4:3 with TV. I'm not quite sure, and I'm not trying to get too techie here. But when I look at this, I go, okay, the action's centered. You got one guy on each side, and then you've got the bad guy there. You can see the watch and the clothes and all that. But that's what like Florida and South Florida looks like. And I just thought it was interesting because if you look at the back, and this again, the print is so fantastic. You got a canal here.
Atlantic Marine, 401 West, 3rd Avenue. I love it.
You got the sun and the clouds. That's what skies look like here in the summer, most of the year here in Florida, 2 in the afternoon, where it's
That's
already rained. It's just great. You just feel like you're literally like at a table sitting across from us watching this action
oh,
happen.
I was gonna say that's what it looks like here all the time, and it's cold.
Oh yeah, I bet, right? Yeah, it just
Um,
has something to do with the way it looks. So that's the
so
main reason why I put that
so they
there.
tackle DeMarco. They're gonna arrest him and stuff, but okay, then here of course we're more cut scenes because that's what they do. Whenever they cut between scenes, they always show music playing, the buildings, and they see the girls.
And
You
look
know,
at that. That's your old
that's
school.
that's
There's
your
a
old
lot of
school.
new pieces, but 80s pieces. Yeah, look at that. She's a nobody, but there's a whole
No,
bunch of scenes like this in here before they get to
well,
where Crockett gets set up.
this is your original. We don't have plastic, girls in Miami.
I have a tattoo on that body.
Nope.
Yep.
All right, and then of course we got DeMarco here, who is now meeting with Tubbs. Tubbs investigating himself, trying to
This
be
is Tubbs at his most electric here because he's basically front and working his way in, pretending like he's somebody. And when he comes down here, he's like, I will write. He's writing his number down on $100 bill to give it to him and all that. And I just thought, man, they're giving Tubbs a lot of shine early on. And to your point,
second
after
episode where Tubbs gets to save the day.
Yeah, this is a very smart move that Miami Vice did with him establishing his unique weight.
So getting back to that scene now we're caught up to that scene here with he comes in there because Crockett he didn't show up. So he's like, and Castillo had basically gone through all of Crockett's, his case and stuff, and knows that he's a legit guy. At this point, we had no idea if Castillo was actually like, he's so quiet, reserved. We don't know if he's annoyed by Crockett, because basically John Johnson's character is very over dramatic sometimes,
Yes.
where, and then you have Edward and James almost, his character is this Crockett, real quiet like this, man, a few words. I love it. And it's just like, see him as this after watching Wolfen, dramatic change.
There's a side character in that Albert Finney movie, which is tremendous. There's a scene that Castillo has in here where the guy on the scene that you've got pulled up there, he's the internal affairs guy busting it. He comes in and, he makes a little clip or whatever about Sonny about, like going to work in security or like that. And I happen to be in Castillo's office because they're talking about something. And he goes, and he's not yelling, but for him, he's yelling. He's like, "Who do you think you are? You come into here and you're harassing my employees.
Oh, it's right here.
You're in here, otherwise, da 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 da." And then when he leaves, Crockett looks at me and goes, "Thanks." And that's like it. But you could tell he's not one to be screwed with. He's serious, bro.
Yeah, his response to him is as like, "You come bust in my office, it's like, you've seen other cases, like, Crockett's, then he's clean. I believe him. I stand behind my man." It's like, it's just like, and this is like, holy shit.
He's right, because he had gotten on Crockett's ass early, basically saying, "Hey, you're late on this report." Because in a way, he's trying to be professional and figure out whether or not he can support Crockett or if he has to bust him. And he's
that too, because everybody's new, so everybody's feeling each other out, and he's such a he comes off like as a quiet, reserved guy. So
however, it's not the best scene with him in this episode. There's one more, but I'll get to that. It's this one right here, where they're talking about the setup here, where they find the body in the canal or like that. And the story, I think I had heard about this a while ago, that this is completely unscripted, and the whole thing with Castillo was that he didn't know how he was going to play his character, so that's why he was quiet, trying to figure out all that stuff. And when he says to him, what does he say? "Detective, don't you ever step up to me like that again." Like he's like, wow, this guy knows what he's doing. And the whole thing, Don Johnson here, and again, look at how this is framed and shot. That's why I picked it. That reaction from Don Johnson's actual legitimate, like, what the fuck is going on here? And he actually walks him off here, and it's like authentic. It's almost like when you're ad-libbing or something, like on a comedy movie or whatever, you don't know what to say and all that, and you're capturing magic. Castillo, what a great job of cementing yourself in here by the whole, I hate to say it because I've been saying it a lot lately, the less is more approach here too. And he's looking straight at him. 0 F's given. I love it. This is strong shit. And we'll find a lot more about Castillo's character, about why he's so individually strong. And
every scene he does, he has his intense eyes. He's quiet, and he stares at you, and he whispers what needs to be said, and then that's it.
Doesn't have to raise his voice, and he's almost never looking at people.
Now for TV, that's probably new, but I don't know if there's characters or before or after, but I remember watching movies where you'd have a character like him where he's like real quiet, and then and I guess, and I'm thinking like when people talk about like for comic books, Batman gives the back glare. He just kind of looks to you and you glare and you kind of back off. That's Castillo because he's quiet. You don't know what to make of him.
It's not as good as Chuck Norris's, but it's that I'm not
Chuck
fucking
Norris
around.
has same eyes. Oh yeah. You can imagine Castillo bringing out the kick. Chuck Norris kick. No, but yeah.
Well.
So of course we also get Dennis Farina here. Like I said, if you don't know who Dennis Farina is, he is a phenomenal actor. Sadly, he died in 2000. I think it was 13.
Well, the scene in the club,
yeah,
where so what happens is, and this is interesting too, because this definitely happens down here and in your parts of the Great Midwest up there near Canada. I don't know, but there's a lot of older customs and stuff that happens, and they still go on. You don't hear about as much with our population, but what happens is the guy that set the flunky and Ricardo go to a place, and it's an illegal gambling ring, and they're cockfighting, and they actually have the cocks out there, and they're going at him, and he's like, "Come on, man, you bet on this thing or what?" And he's like, this, dogs, this, that, whatever. There's dog fighting rings here in the South, all that sort of stuff. And he goes to show Ricardo how to muscle in on the guy that owes him. And so he's like, "Let me take care of it, man." And he goes in there, and he's like, "How much you look for?" And he finds out, and this is great because when he sees Farina in the club, he's like, "Say I took care of him. I got $6,000 or whatever like that." But the guy had told him 4. So Farina says, "Hey guys, I gotta leave. How about we do lunch tomorrow at 12?
Yeah.
Good night." And he says it because he's gonna whack the dude, right?
Because the guy's short. And then here's the thing: the guy's been short before. Like this time, he owes money.
He's skimming, bro.
So he's skimming. So basically, he goes in there. He says, "Hey," Tubb says to him, "Hey, don't worry about it. I'll pay you. Just give me the 4,000. I'll cover the rest." The other guy, DeMarco. So then after this, he goes to DeMarco and tells DeMarco this. Then DeMarco figures out, so then he's his perfect way to DeMarco, because DeMarco doesn't like him because he's quickly becoming Lombard's favorite over DeMarco. And DeMarco, the Luigi little worm, is going to use this to say, "Hey, the new guy's skimming you, because actually skimming is actually DeMarco taking the money from him." So eventually they get onto the boat and stuff, towards the end here. Is basically Jerry, who is Barbara's now widower, because his wife's dead. He wants to go after DeMarco or Lombard, so he's gonna go kill him, And what's crazy about this is I was reading up the guy who the actor plays Jerry, the husband here. He goes on later, and he's actually one of the characters you see in the movie The Abyss.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's on there. Look his IMDb.
Up to me, but the one thing about him and his character is not that he was bad. It was just him and his wife was forgettable. It was just served purpose. But to me, the thing with Miami Vice I mentioned before is that there's a bit of cynicism in the whole show. I think, just from what I recall, way back 40 years ago, and to me, I go, they don't even really get too hard on the fact that there's somebody that had gambling issues, gets whacked, and the guy's trying to be loyal to his woman, and it doesn't really work out for them, even though they
here's the thing,
working on the bad guy. It's like you can't win.
It's very depressing because the fact that he goes in there and Crockett's in there too and stuff, and they're gonna go after Lombard and stuff around the boat serve, and what's his name ends up getting a shot and stuff, by Jerry. Because Crockett told, "Hey Jerry, don't do this. You got kids at home. They're going to watch your kids. You can't go. You can't avenge your wife and kill this guy." And because he shoots and kills the guy, not Lombard. Lombard gets to walk free. He's like, I don't know anything about this. I don't work with these guys.
Great line, guys. What am I getting arrested for? Was it like not assault and battery, but something like, conspiracy to commit lunch? I'll be out free for my 2:00 racquetball appointment. I'm like, that's good shit. That's a great line.
And Farina has that wonderful delivery accent. The way he delivers his lines, it's just believable. He's playing a character from Chicago too. That basically witnessed. He works for the mob over there, and then basically witnessed another thing. So they relocated him down to Miami. After they, and just like so, it's great. He gets to keep his kind of accent. He's kind of like wise guy and stuff. And he just brings a charisma to the role. So it's gonna be great. And Farina is a better boss, or I guess a villain than Kildone, or whatever his name is. Yeah, it
Well,
was Calderon.
Calderon is.
Calderon.
I thought he was a great way of
He liked
being
charisma to me.
representing, the Scarface kind of South Florida,
Sure.
Latin drug lord.
Hmm.
I don't know if it was anything new. His daughter, the two-part that we'd covered
Yeah,
was good. Eventually, in the years to come, as we continue our
she'll come
Miami Vice
back.
coverage,
Yeah,
it's gonna come back a little
yeah.
bit, at least her, so that'll be interesting.
And her
But
brother.
Farina is more what we'd call a modern boss. It just, I think the way the show's going. That's all.
Yeah. So, and like I said, it's just a fantastic episode. I mean, even though it's some might say this is a filler, and not really a filler. I didn't feel like that to me at all, because it's setting up a clear definition of what the first 5 episodes were, or were kind of more lighthearted, a little darkness, a little bit stuff. But then but this is kind of like, okay, now we're gonna add in some more other characters. We're replacing the detective, and I don't know if the other guy had other commitments and then they just like was replace them, or they just said, you know what, we'll get someone else. I don't know what story is why that
The
guy left.
original captain, I
Next.
think, hated the whole Florida thing or couldn't handle the heat. No
Yeah,
joke. Or something
yeah,
happened, and so they
yeah,
wrote him out, and that's fine.
yeah.
Sometimes that happens with shows.
So
Like the 2 ladies in here don't get a lot, and
no,
then we
not
get more later, you know?
well, in the seasons. Yeah, I said everyone gets their time to shine, which is great about this. It's not Team Arrow where everyone's always together, working together. For the most part, you're going to have the main 2 guys. So those going to be Tubbs and Crockett are the main guys. But then you'll get episodes later on as they get into the second season. They start branching out a little bit. Like, okay, well, now we have Zito and yeah, what is it, Toretti or come on,
White-Tech.
Switek get their own time to shine a little bit too. He has problems at home with his wife and stuff. His girl,
There was
his
one
girlfriend.
scene in here that wasn't needed, and I say it, but there's a funny part to it. It just, I don't know if this is the right place for it, but just as a reminder, as an anchor, that he lives on a boat
Yeah,
in the marina, and he's got Elvis there, the giant gator or whatever. There's
yeah.
these 2 game wardens there, and he
Sure.
walks in there, and they're like, "Is this yours? We're taking him. He blah blah blah. We're from the
Good
fishery,
luck.
blah
Yeah.
like that." And he's like, "Really?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, he was in a party. We're like that." But I went back and went, "Wait a minute." Something triggered me, and I rewatched it. And when he walks up there, the first lady, because it's 2 ladies, that
Yeah.
says something. She
Animal
goes,
control. Yeah.
"Hey, pal," just like he would. "Is this your gator?" I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty good." And then he pulls the old, "Well, one that works over here is exempt from blah blah blah," and that's it. So
Yeah.
that was really. I guess it was to give Don Johnson something to do for the episode,
True.
besides smoke cigarettes and go, "Thanks."
Right.
It was a good episode. It felt like we weren't necessarily establishing anything. We are now executing
We were
the template
transitioning
that was getting
from one thing to another. And one thing we didn't talk, we kind of briefly glossed over, was the music. Now we add in the guitar riff. And we got a new captain. So going forward, okay, now it's like, now he's kind of tight lips up. It's like, okay, we're setting tone with this. We got a new crime boss who's going to be come back, and work behind the scenes. They're trying to go after him, but he's kind of untouchable, and just setting the scene here now. As far as now, we've had a dirty IA guy try to go after Crockett, and then and it just strings with the relationship with him and Calito. And I love this because even Calito gets a backstory as we go further into this series. Everyone gets like a thing. We have a lot of Vietnam stuff and then
Yes.
Korea. And what's great about this too, because we're set in this is filmed in 1984. You're gonna get a lot of TV show actors from other shows in the 70s are gonna start popping up everywhere.
Absolutely.
So it's like when you watch Kolchak, it's the same thing. It's like, hey, I know that person, or you might get someone who might be who was on the Love Boat, and you don't need a big name, but if you watch those shows, you're like, hey, I saw that girl before. She was an extra, So, and you're gonna see a lot of more Michael Mann's friends coming on here. Bruce Willis is coming up,
Yes.
the Chicken Man, Gus Fring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said
we'll see more of him.
he has 3 episodes, and I guess Dan Hedaya has 2 more episodes too. I looked on there, coming up, not in this season, but like later on. Dennis Farina is throughout the whole entire series. I think, at least for the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, and the music part, whether you know the songs
That's
or not,
too.
the one that steps up. I mean, there's no an Eric Clapton one there, but the Pointer Sisters had, I think it was the number one hit in the summer of
Mhm.
'84, Jump, because what they did, and the video on MTV when they were singing was a mix of them singing, cutting between sporting events, like
Oh,
like the Lakers and Celtics with Magic Johnson dunking and fast breaking, because they one of the best
yeah.
series ever in the NBA was 1984, the Celtics Lakers, that the Celtics won, and then the Lakers won in '85. But also, let's not forget, it was used as a celebratory thing because that was the last year we won gold in the Olympics with amateurs, and it was one of the themes to the 1984 Olympics, which is just only about 2 or 3 months earlier than that, where we would take our amateurs and play up against the professionals in all the sports. And so I thought
Yeah.
that was interesting. That was a really, really big tune at the
That's the thing
time. I'm not
too.
knocking
Is
the other ones, but I'm
well,
just letting you know that from the time frame.
so the other interesting thing too is that the budget's going to get bigger because this show is now taking off. It's getting more and more people watching it. Their budget's going to increase by the end of especially after the first season finale, or everyone's they think the views go up.
Mhm.
Second season, you're going to have a lot more recognizable songs from the '80s popped up here. You're going to have some Bob Seger in one of the openings. Come
Yeah.
to Papa is cover of another song. I said it's that's the thing too. The opening songs and out of this show is like it sets the tone for what we're going to have. So but yeah, drugs trafficking, prostitution, people being kidnapped, lovers coming back, old war hero or partner buddies, served with Crockett or served with Castillo, and just like there's a lot of cool stuff coming up in this series. And right now it's free to watch on Tubi TV with
Yes.
commercials. But if you are like computer savvy, you have an ad blocker, you can watch it with no commercials whatsoever and just interrupted. You can just binge right through it. They're each about 45 to 50 minutes long. Well, because they took the commercials out.
Mhm.
Just a fantastic show. And two other things I have, let's say. One, it's called One-Eyed Jack because a One-Eyed Jack is a person who basically looks away and takes a bribe.
Yes.
And yeah,
Turns the other cheek.
turns the other cheek. And the other thing is that if you've never watched this, do yourself a favor. Don't write off like, it's just a bunch of Gen X or Boomer stuff. It's actually a lot better than what's on TV right now. They're not catering to anybody other than just basically they're doing. If you liked GTA, Grand Theft Auto, Vice City, or Scarface, any of those stuff there, you're gonna get a lot of that plus some awesome music. Now there's nobody getting cut in half with chainsaws or something like that, but you're gonna have a lot of scenes where you're gonna have, well, adult themes like with prostitutes, murdering people, and just a lot of cool music, a lot of cool cars. The car they use in this, actually, even though we see it's a Ferrari, it is a Corvette underneath.
Kit car then, right?
It's a kit
Conversion?
car because for the first part for these, because in order to blow up this car does get destroyed. Ferrari wouldn't let them do it, and plus it was either maintain a Corvette than it was a Ferrari. It's cheaper.
Well, I tell you, for me, no boomers on this show, but as a teenager from the '80s, I can tell you, people
Yeah.
start talking about it. The music when they would play something at the beginning after the opening gambit, as well as the theme song, kind of pulls you in. And again, as a Central Florida native, been traveled around the world, you still
Mhm.
call Florida home. It really there's a vibe to it and a feeling that you get, and the plots. You'll pretty much get what's going on, even if it doesn't emotionally attach you to it,
Yeah.
because you're really interested in the relationships of the people on the force and how they deal with stuff. And it's not cutesy, but it's not the over the
No,
top
and
stuff that you see like today, where
there's no.
they popularize how great it is to work for the FBI
Yeah.
or to be a cop or any of this these
No,
other
no, and
shows. It's like, shut up.
there's no human resources, so no one's getting in trouble for saying, a bad word or dating another employee. Miami Vice, and Don Johnson's going on and off with Gina, real relationship in there too, and it's yeah, so no one batted an eye, and it was realistic because people do if you work
They're also
undercover and
dealing
stuff.
with scumbags
Yeah,
and scum on the streets,
she
like
even gets it.
Booker, not like
She,
Columbo.
I said, she even gets a chance to shine here when she dates Liam Neeson. I'm just saying they got a lot of cool celebrities that pop on this show that you're going to recognize from today's TV shows, and it's just great to see them. Just starting on here, But that being said, though, if you guys haven't already done so, please like, subscribe, do that fun stuff. If you're watching on your phone and hey, I don't like this, I don't like the vertical, you can go back and watch it. We have it live. We always go live on the vertical mode and also on the horizontal, like this. Yeah, very convenient. And
Tuesday night to be determined.
Yeah,
we'll be
not
going
sure.
live 8:00 Eastern with an action movie, and then Wednesday night, the young 20-something Professor Pixel and I, also from Central Florida area, will be continuing our coverage of Columbo. We just finished up season 4, I believe 6 episodes. What we're going to do is rank them in the order of the season that we like, because that's a fun little exercise just to kind of hit some of the highlights. Very fun show, but they go after the whole template's different than Miami Vice. And so the one thing about the 80s, even though this is kind of what people like to describe as MTV Cops, which is not really true, is that you're getting to deal with like what was just in the pop culture at the time too, not just the music and the dress and the women, but the drugs, the cocaine, the partying, government kind of sucks and they're not here. They get in the way of helping out, whereas before they were supported, like maybe in the 70s. So it's more of the cops not being anti-heroes, but just of solid moral character. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Frank Zappa also guest appears on this show too.
Oh yeah. And we're not done with the name dropping yet there.
No,
Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Good night now.
Take it easy, guys. And leave a comment down below what you thought of this episode, or if you're a fan of the series, what your favorite episode of the series is. Just leave a comment down below so we have interaction, and it helps the algorithm, lets us know that, hey, people were actually interested in watching this. But thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern.